Yes. Hey, Uloma. Good to see you. Good to see you all. You're welcome. Thank you for bearing with us. Thank you. Our guest, was held up and she's here now. She's ready. Hello, everyone. Let us know where you're joining us from. Okay, Karen is here with me. I am so excited. Hello, everyone. Hello. You're welcome. It's good to see you all. Karen, I'm waiting for you. Hey, look at you.
How are you? How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
I'm good.
Thank you.
It's
Thank
kind of, it's
you.
kind of dark where you are.
Is it dark? Okay. Oh, it's because. Hold it. Can you see me better here? Is this better?
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
All right. Cool. I have one of these funny phones, and it doesn't. I can't see myself. I can only see you. You look fabulous, by the way. I love your new hair.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Good. I'm glad that's better. Oh, let me just turn this up. So, how are you?
I am good. And it's good to see you. I know there's going to be a wonderful time today.
Good.
How's your grandchild?
My grandson is great. Yes, he is great. He was fun, but he literally fell asleep, and then he was just, falling asleep on me. And that's a wonderful thing, but it meant that I couldn't do anything.
I know what that is like. So everyone, you're welcome. This is Karen. Karen is a bespoke designer
That's right.
in UK.
Yes.
She's 58.
Yes.
She was a teacher
Yes.
and she is a tutor. She's been teaching how to sew for 40
Oh my
years.
God. Yeah. Yeah.
And,
Well, I learned to sew over 40 years ago. I've been teaching sewing. I've been teaching lots of things, but I, I've been teaching for, yeah, a long time, a very long time. But yeah, and I love it. I miss teaching in the secondary sector, but I don't miss the, what's the word, the system. So
Mhm.
teaching in itself, teaching private sewing lessons is absolutely perfect for me because it's teaching something I love, it's passing on creativity, and I also get to do what I'm good at. So yeah, it's a win-win situation.
Beautiful, beautiful. And so, for those who don't know me, you've never met me, you've never seen me, I am Evelyn Femi Paul. I live in Nigeria. I'm a Nigerian, proudly Nigerian, proudly Nigerian. And I'm 51 years old. Of course, I'm menopausal right now. And the reason I started my page, Menopause Diva, because when I got into menopause, it was debilitating. I kind of think I'm one of those people who had most of the symptoms, and I knew nothing about them, just the hot flushes
Mm.
and no periods. Of course, we all were excited about no periods.
Mm.
Um, but when the symptoms came, it hit me like a tsunami.
Mhm. Mhm.
Everything
Mm.
from depression to lethargy, just exhausted, always needing to take a nap,
That's right.
you know. And I thought, if I am feeling like this, I mean, it was really bad. I started putting on weight, and like I say, just by breathing, I was putting on weight and having the menopause belly. And I was cranky. I couldn't even work for almost 2 years. I couldn't do anything. I had to
Wow.
stop working. I had to stop everything.
Mm.
And so you can imagine going through all of that and not knowing what it is that
Yeah.
is wrong.
Yeah.
So that was how it was for me. I didn't know what was wrong. I just thought, what is this? You go to sleep and your body just ache.
Mm.
Everything, my joints, my fingers, everything just ache. And I thought, what's happening to me? What's happening to me? And no confidence at all.
Yeah.
I lost all of that. And let me tell you what it is, Karen. I'm actually a pastor, a
Okay.
preacher.
I didn't know that.
Actually, a preacher. I'm actually, and I'm an image consultant. So
Okay.
I am a trainer, a speaker, a coach.
Mm.
I teach people how to be confident, good presentation, all of that. So you can imagine when I couldn't do any of those again.
Yeah. Yeah.
And until I made the connection
Mm-hmm.
that it was menopause. Of course, by being the Google, Dr. Google helped me a lot. And that's how I got here. And I thought, well, if I ever feel good or whenever I feel really good and feel better, I'm going to do something. I'm going to start a group.
Yeah.
I'm going to help other women. I'm sure there is one woman out there who feels like me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's how I started the group. And that's how I found you. So tell me about you. When did menopause begin for you?
So it started and I didn't realize it had started. And now, even now, you're talking to me about feeling tired all the time. So I was a teacher. I was a head of, we call it a head of house, a head of year, a pastoral leader in a big London school. And I decided to come, I used to come home at lunchtime. I used to make my lunch, leave it in my fridge, and then pop home at lunchtime. I didn't live very far. And I found that I was coming home and going to bed, setting my alarm, and then getting up and going back to work. And I remember buying like vitamins, and there's this liquid called Floradix that I bought because I thought, oh, I'm just run down. It's that kind of thing. So I didn't know. And also, I didn't know perimenopause was not a word that I'd ever heard of before. And
Same here.
yeah, and maybe I thought I was too young. I don't know. So I didn't focus on that. And then in 2000, so when I was 15, I had not had a period for a year. And then both my daughters went to uni. One went back to uni and one started uni. And so I had the house to myself. And I thought I would love being able to run around and, have the house to myself, but actually I didn't like it at all. I became very lonely very quickly. And what I didn't know was that was the beginning of a kind of spiral down into depression. So I was forgetting things at work. I was not enjoying work. I suppose sometimes when you have space, it allows you to turn your kind of gaze on yourself. And so I was focusing on the fact that I couldn't do my job because I'd been doing my job for 30 years and I didn't know what else I could be, really. I never imagined not being a teacher, and I was very good at it until I wasn't. So it wasn't until I had time off work. I tried to get better to get back to work. I went back to work. I had more time off work. And in that time, I was again trying to get better to get back to work. And that was the key for me. It was like, as long as I could get back to teaching, I'd be okay again.
Okay.
Yeah, went to the doctors, spoke to the doctor about various things, and menopause was at the bottom of that list. I kind of knew it was happening. I had my first symptoms, besides hot flushes, were tingly legs, really bad tingly leg. People describe it as...
That's horrible.
Right. It's funny because I describe it as tingly legs. Other women describe it as having insects crawl underneath your skin, which is awful. But I've never seen it like that, but that's a very good description. But I started to, one morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, couldn't sleep, my sleep's affected. I'm Googling menopause symptoms and Google is chucking things back at me. And I thought I was dying. I thought, oh my bloody God, is that all?
Did you think you felt like that?
I felt like,
because
it was confusing.
That happened.
Yeah.
I thought it was over for me.
Yeah.
I thought life, because you don't even know what is wrong, and you have all of the symptoms at the same time, like an avalanche.
Yeah.
And I just thought, I think I'm dying.
Yeah.
So every night I was scared to sleep,
Yeah.
because I just thought that may just be the day.
Yeah.
That night may just be the day. Today may just. So I was afraid. So every time it was night, I would have these palpitations and anxiety.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I prayed right today. So you had that too.
So I had that. I had hot flushes, but I thought my boiler was broken. I thought my heating was off. And then when the penny dropped, but the other thing is that I was focused on, I'd been diagnosed with anxiety and depression, and the doctor hadn't made the connection between anxiety and depression and menopause at the time. So I was focused on that bit because I didn't want to be depressed and I wanted to go back to work. But it didn't work out that way. And in the end, I ended up leaving my career. I'd been in teaching for 28 years full time. I ended up leaving my career. And when I made the decision to stop trying to get better, to go to work, and decided to get better for me, that's when I wouldn't say I got better at that point, but the focus changed because I went from being very, very busy and very, very stressed to nothing. Like I had nothing to do. Like I had nothing to do. So I entered therapy, which was long overdue, to be fair. I've been putting it off. I entered therapy. I learned to do mindful meditation. I half read, and I say half read because it's a very big book, a book by John Kabat-Zinn, which is called Full Catastrophe Living, which is fantastic. But it's very big and very expensive, so try and get it secondhand. But it's about being mindful and being aware of your surroundings and being present. And I'd never done anything like that because I was too busy running about looking after everybody else. So it was a combination.
Karen, I need to take you back on that.
Oh, sorry.
You were too busy looking after everybody else.
Well,
isn't that a story? Isn't that a story of most women?
Yeah, exactly.
We're just so busy looking after everyone, making sure everyone is okay, they're eating right, and we're not.
Yeah. And also, it's what we're taught, isn't it? Women are praised for being carers. It's common. So I had nothing to do. And by nothing, I mean I didn't have to get up and go to a job, and I didn't have to think about, the kids at school, the teachers that I was looking after, that kind of thing. And also, as I said, my girls were at university. So there was this void, and what filled the void was depression. So it gave me, in a sense, that breakthrough gave me the time to get worse so I could get better. Yeah,
Okay.
So it's interesting. When I think about my menopause symptoms now, my physical menopause symptoms, and I often say, well, they haven't been that bad. I mean, there are 34 main menopause symptoms. They say that black women, the research that I found, certainly the American research, is that black women start menopause a couple of years, a couple of years earlier, and we suffer more severely, particularly with things like hot flushes. But my physical symptoms have not been as severe as many women I'm talking to and I read about, but I then forget that anxiety and depression debilitated me for a good 2 years before I started to come through it, and now I know that could easily have been one of the symptoms. So,
So let me ask, did your mother tell you anything about menopause? Did you ever have that menopause talk and all of that?
Who does that?
Because my mom, when I started saying, oh, my hands are aching, my fingers are aching, my body, I don't understand it. I wake up at night to go use the bathroom, and it's a chore, literally a chore to do that. And I said, Mommy, what's happening to me? My fingers, everything aching. He said, oh, you're aging.
mm, mm,
You're getting older. That's what happens.
mm.
That was the explanation that I got. And I'm sure my mom did not have all the symptoms that I had. She didn't have them. I can't remember her having, being in this depressed mood for almost 2 years and confused, no motivation, brain fog, memory,
Mm.
glitches. I can't remember her having that because till now her memory is still like this.
But we don't
So for me,
yeah. The reason we don't remember is because we're often focused on ourselves. And that's not a bad thing. That's not an indictment of you or me or anybody else. It's just the way it is. And so I now know, first of all, when I was going through menopause, I didn't speak to my mum about it. My mother lived 80 miles away, and I didn't want to worry her, so for a long time I didn't tell my mum that I was, going through what I was going through. And also because I wasn't really sure. She knew I was off work, and she knew I wasn't physically, that my unwellness was to do with my head. But my mother's 80, and that generation, she was what, 75 at the time. So that generation, they don't understand mental well-being. They don't understand therapy. They weren't brought up, they were brought up to soldier on and get on with it. And so the thought of me going to a therapist was like me going to tell a complete stranger my business. They don't see, and in fact, what's interesting is that, so I have an aunt, dear Aunt Monica, who passed away in the same month a month after I left teaching. And my mum told her that I had gone into therapy, and my Aunt Monica called me ostensibly to kind of tell me off in a gentle auntie way, basically saying, you can talk to me. There are lots of people you can talk to. You don't need to pay a stranger. And so they don't understand the benefits of what therapy was and what it was for me. It was because often the things you talk about in therapy are often the people that you don't want to burden. So in terms of talking about menopause, I remember my mum saying things like, "Oh, is it hot in here?" And before anybody could answer, she'd whip her top off and she'd be sitting there in a latex bra. And I remember being mortified and embarrassed, but it never occurred to me to ask her, because we didn't have those conversations. We didn't have that kind of relationship. I'm more likely to talk to her.
Are you having that conversation now with your children?
Oh God! Oh, my children know everything about what I do and what I've been through. They've been there from the beginning. They know all my symptoms, and they know a lot about menopause because we talk about it. I'm determined for any young person who is coming up after me, who I come into contact with, women I mean, and men actually, to know what menopause is, because you're absolutely right. It can hit you like a tsunami. But the reason it does that is because, one, it's tied to getting older, and women are taught that getting older is a bad thing. It's celebrated in men, but youth is celebrated in women. Which means that we don't want to get older, which means we don't want to tell people what our real age is, which means that when we do get to a certain age and we hit menopause, it freaks
people can tell how old you are.
Right. So whereas I've always celebrated my age because I feel privileged to get to 58, and I expect to be here for at least another 40 years, God willing or universe willing or whatever, because I believe that every day is a gift. And so
it is a gift
for getting older and not wanting to tell people, I've got no truck with that. Personally, I get it because it's a learning and it's the way we're taught. But I feel that I don't want my daughters or any young person coming up, particularly women, to feel that getting older is a curse and that menopause is this awful thing and it's the end of the world, because it isn't. It doesn't have
it isn't, somebody put on the page, once I put up something, and the young lady said, "Oh, I'm so scared of this." I said, "No, don't be scared. The reason we're doing this is so that you will have knowledge. You're educated, you're enlightened, you're empowered, and you're prepared to embrace this new transition. It's inevitable.
Yes.
However, do it with a positive mindset.
Yeah.
You know what it is, and you're prepared. And then you can start taking the right supplements. You can change your diet, your lifestyle, all of that. It's just so you can be prepared for it.
Yeah,
I was not prepared. I wasn't into supplements. I would buy them and they would stay on the shelf for months till they expire. I wasn't into eating right, vegetables and all of that. I will make for the rest of the family. And I'm just like, there's something in Nigeria.
Okay.
I was exercising. And
Okay. Yeah.
it hit me really hard. And so we won the.
Come on, Wi-Fi. Ah,
What's happening?
I don't know. I think the Wi-Fi is playing. I don't know whether it's you or it's me, but you're here.
Okay. So all the younger ones out there, look, we're not trying to frighten you at all. We're trying to get you prepared so you don't go through what we went through. And that's the reason we're speaking out. And talking about that, it's kind of taboo. Menopause is kind of a taboo subject in most communities. You know that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So for me, when I started and I kept on checking, I think that's the same story for you. I kept on checking online and I saw most white women, they were the ones talking about it on Instagram and all of that. I followed all of them. I joined the community. Okay.
It's frozen.
Can you see me?
I can see you fine, but it keeps freezing. The Wi-Fi keeps freezing.
This is interesting. My phone is on Do Not Disturb. Yet, I don't know how a call is trying to come in. So can you see me now?
Yes, I can see you. I can hear you.
Okay. And so I kept seeing, white women, and I thought, if it's something they don't even talk about, I can imagine what it's like for us in Africa. That felt good. I'm going to talk about this, whether or not anybody's talking about it. I am going to talk about menopause. I'm going to talk about what I've been through. I'm going to talk about how to get out of this, or how to thrive. And that's how I started the page. And for you as well, you said it was like that for you.
Well, so I have two accounts. So I have the Karen Arthur, which is my, me, and I started Menopause Whilst Black recently because during lockdown, I don't know what the situation was like in Nigeria, how long your lockdown was or what it was, but certainly here, when Black Lives Matter became a global phenomenon, when George Floyd was murdered and when Amy Cooper weaponized her tears, I was feeling grief, I was feeling angry, I was feeling lots of things. And also I'd had a close friend that many people knew in the community, a rapper called Ty, Ben Chichioke, who passed also from COVID. So I was feeling lots of emotions, and I was wondering how Black women in particular, who are we deal with racial transgressions, we're watching Black bodies who look like us being murdered. How do we deal with all of this, plus COVID, plus lockdown, plus uncertainty around your job, plus menopause? And so I started to talk about it. And that's when I started the survey, because I noticed the survey was called Menopause and Black Women in the UK, because I was seeing research about African American women, but the UK research on Black women to do with menopause was targeted towards why Black women are less likely to take up HRT, and it was from 2007. And I thought there would be lots of research. I assumed that there would be, but I couldn't find it. So I started my own, and that's when I started the page. I feel it's interesting, because when I started it, there are a lot of menopause accounts on Instagram. Let's be clear here, okay? And now it's not difficult to find out about menopause if you want to. The problem, of course, is that there's so much information and there's so much confusion that it still leads people to be scared. So even though 5 years ago there was information but people weren't necessarily talking about it, now you can't throw a stick without hitting a menopause account, can you? You know, and there's menopause for yoga, and there's, different different things to do with menopause, the way you eat, etc. But I feel it's important that we still see people, women who are menopausal and thriving and talking about it. It's important to see people who look like us, in order to help us to feel less scared. I mean, I'm not.
And it takes away loneliness.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't feel you're alone, because I certainly felt I was alone. Initially, when I started, checking online, I thought, wait a minute, is this one of those things that the Black woman is not meant to have? One of those symptoms. What am I doing? How did I get here?
Yeah.
But I found out that, in talking to friends who agreed to open up, I found out that they were going through the same thing. I remember a friend of mine who said, all she would do every day is just cry.
Oh God, that's so sad.
That just happens, and and you can't explain it. And I see that also a lot of women, they just leave their jobs. They just quit.
I left my job. That's what I did. I left my job.
They just quit. They just like, I can't take this anymore. And in my research, I found out that past unresolved traumas, they tend to surface during menopause.
Yeah.
So the things that you could take before, you suddenly can't take them anymore, because estrogen is declining. Their estrogen, I say. Yeah, estrogen was our regulator. Estrogen was what helped us, to stay balanced. And estrogen is gone. Estrogen is declining, and we have to face all that we have to face.
Yeah.
So sometimes I say to people, don't blame me. I don't have any regulators anymore. My regulators are gone.
I think also it's a conversation, a welcome conversation, that is something that needs to be happening with everybody. Before, it was the silent thing that women just went through, and we learned from our mothers that you just get on with it. And because they didn't talk about it, we feel that we couldn't talk about it as well. But that's changing now. But it's not a women's conversation. It's a global conversation that needs to be had with.
I was coming to that. Right, that it's something we need to talk about. So we need to talk to all the stakeholders, the partners, the husband, the children, at the workplace as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Menopausal women must say that they are going through menopause, or else they're not going to understand what you're going through. You can imagine standing all day or standing for more than 1 hour. It's not easy. I can't even stand for an hour anymore. My back would ache. So you can imagine if I was working and trying to keep the job.
I feel that,
so we need to start speaking out.
I feel that if there was more, if everybody understood, and it was something that you learn in school when you learn about puberty, that when you get to the age that you are going out into the workplace or you're working, that there would be legislation in place that would mean that when women get to menopause, they don't have to leave their job. They are supported in the choices that they make, so that they can be of more use to the workforce. And this is the other thing, you know, that whole thing around women as we get older, we're supposed to be, when you hit menopause, lots of things happen, and therefore you're supposed to be quiet, and you're supposed to, you know, just allow the youth to kind of step up. We can all help each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that
True.
as we get older, I have much more, of course, I have much more experience and much more wisdom than I did when I was 20. So why am I going to be quiet now? Surely this is the time that we should be celebrating women getting older. You know, it makes no sense to me. It makes no, in the Western world, we are very bad at celebrating age. And I think it's really important for, I'm going to say women in particular, because we are women, and black women in particular as well, because we're black women, to show up and speak up and just exist in a positive way. If youngsters see us thriving, they won't be as scared. And they won't feel there's anything to, they'll be like, oh, I want to be like, I want to, you know, be like that person, or I want to do what that person is. You know, I left my job teaching. I didn't think I'd be able to do anything else. I was confused. I was depressed, all of those things. I'm not where I want to be right now, but I am, I've changed, you know, I'm a fashion designer. I've come out.
Absolutely.
You know,
absolutely.
Doable.
It was the same thing for me. I thought, oh, I'm not where I want to be. I don't want to help anyone. You know, but in helping people, you find out that you feel a lot better. In speaking about it, you feel a lot better. You take it one day at a time, you know.
Yeah.
Karen, what would you say is one funny thing that's happened in your menopause journey? Okay. Something that
I would, well, I suppose I always tell the story of the boiler. So my boiler broke in 2014. This is interesting because I was so depressed that, and not realizing it, that I didn't get it fixed for ages. So it got very, very cold. But because I wasn't thinking about me and I didn't care about me, I suffered for 2 months without any heating at all. Anyway, I finally fixed the boiler. I finally got it sorted out. But I thought the boiler was broken. So when my hot flushes came through, I was and I putting notes around saying I need to go and I need to call British Gas and give them a piece of my mind and get this boiler fixed. And it was only one day that I realised, oh no, this is your hot flushes. So I you know, I mean, it's ridiculous now I think about it. But yeah, I was convinced. I was about to give some poor man a piece of my mind. You know.
Can I tell you one that happened to me? So I had memory issues. I would just forget things. I would keep something and don't remember where I kept that thing.
It still happens to me.
So I didn't know, you know, so gradually it just kept on going like that. I didn't realize it was all linked to menopause. One day I was cooking and then I was done cooking. I wanted to keep the vegetable, the rest of it, I wanted to put it in the chest in the fridge. Guess what? Where I kept it?
Oh God!
I walked the kitchen door.
Yeah.
I went to the living room. Yeah. Opened the chest of drawers there.
Oh my God!
I put the vegetable there. I had no idea that I did that.
Yeah.
I had no idea at all. I mean, even till now, as I speak, I cannot even remember doing that.
Yeah.
Then 2-3 days after, the place starts to smell.
Yes.
I'm wondering, what's stinking? What's smelling in this place? What's smelling? My husband comes in the next day and says, did you mean to put the vegetable in the drawer? I said, where? Drawer where? He said, it's
memory loss is a thing.
I mean, now I can laugh, but you know, that day I remember just going upstairs to I started crying. I was like, God, what's happening to me? How can I take the vegetable and put? And then I started saying, you know, I have to take some medication, some supplements for this. I need to do something about my memory. I can't let this go on. So memory, that's one of the things that happen, one of the symptoms. But if you start taking your supplements and eating right, it helps a lot. So
yeah, go on.
So still moving on. What would you say? What lifestyle changes? Diet. You talked about meditation.
The thing.
What else?
So my training is in dance. So I did a performing arts degree. I was a dance specialist, and I taught dance for decades. So I've always been someone who's been quite in touch with my body. That said, my body started to change. But at the same time, I've always been someone who stretched and moved. I think it's really important to move every day. So I like to, you know,
Dancing.
to run, I dance, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
In about a year before,
somebody's asking from the audience that how did we both find our balance again? And so if you're listening, those are some of the things that we did.
Yeah.
Exercise, I had to change. I had to learn to do exercises, even though I still don't like them, but I have to, you know. Dancing, that's natural. I love to dance. So I do that every day. I dance everywhere in the kitchen. I just dance. So that's good. The stretching is good. And then supplements. Take some supplements. For me, Karen, I don't know about you, but I had to start taking supplements, my vitamin D, my vitamin E, omega, calcium. What else do we take?
I think that we can get, if you eat a balanced diet, up your vegetable intake. I don't eat meat anymore. I stopped eating fish for a while, but I've gone back to eating mackerel because it's got oils in it and I really love it. But I take vitamin D and I take the omega 369 with the fish oil.
Yes.
I drink a lot of water. I'm a big fan of water. And I
things like that as well. I drink like 3 liters a day.
Oh my God, I'd be in the toilet all the time if I drank 3 liters of water. Are you mad? Do you drink 3 liters of water a day?
So I have to use the bathroom all the time, but I found that it helped even when I have the headaches, because that was something that I used to have, radiating headaches all over.
Yeah.
I even went, I went to do an MRI because I thought something was wrong, and they said there was nothing. I said, no, check the brain. Mm-hmm. There is something there. Something is moving in my head, And but when I started taking a lot of water, I found out that even when I have a headache, the moment I just gulp down 50 cl of water, I feel a lot better.
They say to drink water before you're thirsty. By the time that you are thirsty, you're already dehydrated. And I find that whenever I have a headache, water is the first thing that I go for. And headaches and migraines in particular can be something that come on during menopause more than before, kind of thing. So water is definitely the way forward. And I'm someone who doesn't really like to take headache pills or drugs or anything like that. It's perfect for me. Someone said about exercise. Even if you don't like exercise, you can find something that you love. For me, walking in nature works twofold, because it is a kind of a meditation as well. So you might not be able to, you might not necessarily work up a sweat, but if you're going for a long walk and you're able to get somewhere where there's greenery and something pretty to look at, that will help with your mental it helps in my mental well-being as well as my fitness levels as well.
And it helps with the hot flushes, the walking, the exercise. If you do the exercise in the evening, early evenings before you go to bed, it helps with the night sweats.
Definitely. So supplements wise, they're the only 2 supplements I take. I don't take anything else. There are loads of supplements out there. It's a minefield. The thing with menopause symptoms and remedies, so to speak, different things work for different people. So after about a year, maybe 2017, I gathered my friends together, a few friends together, female friends. I'm the eldest in my group in a sense. So I was like, you know what, I'm going through this. You're either going through this or you're going to. Let's talk about it. Like you said, a support from a women's circle. And what was wonderful about that is One, us connecting through saying, oh my God, that's the same thing that happens to me. But the other thing we found was that we all had different symptoms as well that no one else had. So someone had aches and pains like you were talking about, which I never had. Other people.
The electric shock.
Right.
Did you have the electric shock?
The what? Yeah, I still have that electric shock. I find that fascinating. Someone had night sweats. I've never had night sweats, but and they didn't have as many hot flushes. So so we swapped kind of remedies. Someone talked about spending money. If you have money, linen sheets are apparently fantastic for sleeping on if you have night sweats. Somebody shared a supplement that she took that helped her feel a little bit more human again. Somebody talked about taking sage tablets, which is supposed to be good for hot flushes. And
flaxseed.
Right, so
and the flaxseed.
But you have to be prepared because we're all different. We're not a monolith. We all have different symptoms in different ways, and some women will sail through menopause and have hardly any symptoms. So you have to be prepared to try different things.
I know what works for you.
Yeah, and find out what works for you. But I also think, don't you think, Evelyn, it's a mindset? You come across as someone who is incredibly positive. It's so refreshing. I mean, it's why people come to you. It's very clear that you are someone that's like, okay, I'm going through this. I'm going to, empower other women to go through it and thrive. We're very similar in that sense. And I do feel that my mindset in terms of being grateful for just being here and having an attitude of gratitude, I know that's cliche, but I've said it now, has helped and continue
same here.
My outlook on life, but also my outlook on menopause. I feel that mindset is and perspective is a fantastic. I mean, you have your faith as well.
Very important. It's very important, the right mindset. For me, I'm just grateful. I just say to God, I say, thank you that I'm awake today. Thank you that I'm alive today. I'm going to do my best. I'm just going to trust you to help me through today. So that's how I got to where I'm at, because somebody asked the question. And then post your questions up there if you have any questions, because I think we have about 15 minutes to go.
I was going to go.
Karen said that. You said the 1 hour is going to fly. It's just going to go so fast.
Don't forget to save it at the end. I think I've had a few friends who've done lives and they've forgotten to save it. And I think that there will be women who can't make it today who might want to watch it back. So
yeah, so we're going to put it on the IGTV.
Yeah.
So you can watch it.
Yeah, definitely. Someone has asked about how do I make myself happy. Can I just say, is it Precious and Joko? I just want to give this person a hug. I just feel like we can't make. I want to say something that's going to make it all go away, but actually, it's lots of little things for me, and it's gradual. I personally use fashion to help me. I am someone who practices something called Wear You're Happy, where I choose clothes that I love for all sorts of reasons. They might be gifts. They might remind me.
Not trendy.
No, well, I don't think trendy.
Just clothes you
don't like trendy. I don't like the words.
You know why I'm asking that? Like I said, I'm an image consultant, and I've always been known to, come out looking all together, all put together. And when menopause started, all I wanted to do was just wear what we call boo-boo. You know that? Just that free boo-boo. It's just a free comfort dress.
Kaftan.
Nothing. Oh yeah, kaftan.
Okay.
That's all I started wearing. I wear them and I'm comfortable, and I just couldn't care what anyone thought. I would wear them to church. Because I just couldn't deal anymore.
Yeah.
So I guess menopause helps you, become comfortable in yourself and do whatever it is.
I think so. I've always been someone who's been interested in fashion and I've always considered myself stylish. The difference now is that I don't try to follow trends. I look at fashion, obviously, I'm a fashion designer, I read all the magazines, I'm aware of putting a look together, but I am more interested in how I feel than how I look. Do you understand?
Precise.
It doesn't matter to
Yes,
me.
comfort over trend. Comfort for me over
Right.
trend. I'm being happy in what I'm wearing.
Yeah, and that's a gradual process. Well, I think it is anyway.
Now, another somebody asked, is painful feet a symptom? I would say yes, because for me, that I had that as well, and I still have it sometimes if I stand for too long. I made a post on that. I stand for too long, and it feels as if my entire body weight is resting on the ankles. So what I do, I just massage with shea butter. I use that to massage. I try not to take anti-inflammatory tablets because they too have their side effects. So I do the massage and try and sit down when I feel like that. So for that person who asked the question,
But
we hope we've answered.
there's also a really good yoga move, which is literally you lie on the floor with a cushion at your head, and you put your bottom near the wall,
To the wall.
and put your legs up.
Yes, legs up.
Okay?
Yeah,
And
I know.
stay there.
Yes.
There's a good account on here. There's Donna Noble Yoga or You Can Yoga One. Both of them, black women, and both of I mean, there are lots of yoga accounts, but these are the
So
two.
maybe you should send them to me
Yeah,
so I can post with
and
video.
I think
So people can
You
follow
Can
them.
Yoga One just posted something about putting your legs up to the wall, and somebody else, who else? Feel Good Yoga. All people who, like, when I'm feeling when I need the blood, to kind of rush back down again, lying with your feet up the wall. And also the wall is cooling as well. So if the weather's hot, that's also a good way to keep cool for your menopause as well. But yeah, that's a good one.
So we have, I think we have 10 minutes to go. Um,
We have to do it again.
so we're going to address two things. Somebody said, oh, I didn't know menopause, there was white menopause and, and black menopause.
There isn't white menopause.
So we need to let that person know that that's not what it is.
Yeah.
It's actually the fact that we didn't have lots of black people talking about it, and we thought it would be nice to talk about it, create accounts so black people can see that there are others like them going through menopause. So it's nothing like black menopause or white menopause. And also to have support groups where black people can come. That's one of the reasons why I started a support group on Facebook as well. And that was last month, I think I started it. And we're like about 200 now on that group. So it's just so that you find people like you. I think, Karen, you always say that people like you who go through the same things. It just helps to feel good.
It's important to hear stories from people who look like you. Listen, black people have not been in the media, in the mainstream, and it's time that we were able to reclaim that. I think that it's hard to go, menopause is hard enough, but when you're going through it and think that you're the only person who's going through it because all you're seeing are white faces, then it's important that people like us and lots of other women speak up as well. There are cultural differences. Different cultures experience menopause in the same way, but we all experience it. That's the point. And whilst black women may go through menopause a couple of years earlier, as I said before, and may experience menopause more severely, there are some symptoms that we don't suffer more from. So we're less likely to get osteoporosis. We tend to have stronger bones density, and also, like, Asian women are more likely to get osteoporosis, and I don't know why that is. I think that the medical profession needs to kind of sit up and look at the differences and do the research so that they're better able to serve people from all cultures. And I think this is just the beginning, and I welcome people, women standing up and saying, women of different colours standing up and saying, you know what, I'm here too, I'm going through menopause too, this is me.
Yeah.
We just hear stories that resonate with us. And if your story,
Good.
and that's why we connected.
Yes. So let's talk about the survey.
Yeah. So
You started this research, this survey
but just because
for UK women.
I wanted it to be Black UK women because I'm a Black UK woman, and because everything tends to be Afrocentric. I wanted 100 people, and I got, in the end, I closed the survey on Monday at 235. And I want to be able, and I will be able to be sharing. A lot of the stuff I asked was around the symptoms and around racial trauma and around how women felt about menopause, whether they told their families, whether they told work, that kind of thing. But there's a couple of things. First of all, I haven't got anything to compare it to. People are saying, well, what's the difference? Well, I don't know. I'm not a researcher, and I haven't seen any other surveys. But also, I feel like the biggest thing that's come out of it is that Black women want to be heard. And so actually, it's about being asked. We're never asked. We were never asked these questions. So a lot of the stuff that came up was, thank you for asking. Thank you for saying this. I thought I was alone. I thought you the only
person. That's why we should all talk about our experiences, our journeys. When I started the group, I was a bit worried whether or not people would talk, but I was shocked to see Nigerian women post on the group, oh, thank you for this. I've been having low libido, vagina dryness. I thought, really, African women would talk about this openly? But yes, because people are suffering in silence and they need help. So talking about somebody's asking here, how long does the transition take? Will I have to manage symptoms forever?
No, not forever. But the transition can take up to 14 years, which is why it's important to live it and not try to get through it. That's it, because
and I like it's better to thrive than to survive.
There you go. It's not something to get through. It's something to experience and, dare I say it, enjoy. I'm enjoying my life, and I'm menopausal. Hey, I feel like I need to put that on a placard somewhere.
That's why the positive attitude is very important. The positive attitude. We need to just have a positive attitude. And for me, what has really helped me, prayers. There's some really bad days, really awful days. I know I had some really awful days where I just felt like someone dumped me in a hole, in a dark hole. And for like a year, I didn't know how to come out of that. It was just so bad. I didn't have the kind of support system. I didn't even know whether a support system was going to help. You know what I mean? So I was just there and wondering, what is this? What is happening to me? Is this how I'm going to die? Is this how it's all going to end? But prayers and music, I kept playing the music. I got to know all the songs. Most of the Christian songs, I played them. I got to know them. And that just helped, because these things are energy, putting the right energy around you. It helped a lot. And here we are. It's not like we don't have some bad days. If you're listening, it's some days, and you have to learn to talk to yourself. The affirmation as well also helps. Get out there. Tell yourself you can. You're still the same person. You're still the same person. Take the supplements. I take supplements. That has really helped me regularly. And eat right. I had to start eating right and eating lots of vegetables and fruits. And that's really helped me. Well, of course, we can't talk about menopause in 1 hour. So another day, we can talk about our experiences. Karen warned me, said, Evelyn, you're not going to be able to finish all these questions. You can't do it. Okay, we still have one more question. Do we have time for this? How did you start the conversation about menopause with friends? Somebody's asking.
I just opened my mouth. I woke up one day and I thought, I'm not keeping this to myself. It's as simple as that. You know, one day I didn't want to talk about it because I didn't understand it, and the next day I couldn't shut up about it, and that's how I feel now. Is that anybody who knows me knows that it's part of me. So why am I going to keep that quiet? I don't understand. And I have two girls. They're 25 and almost 30, and I want them to know that this is something. I don't want to say to look forward to, but it's just another part of life. It's just another part of life.
It's just another part of life. Even I have a 10-year-old son.
Oh, okay.
He knows
him, yes.
He knows everything about menopause now. He you know, there was a post I put up, you know, menopause diva and son, where he said, "Mommy, why do you always ask the same question 2-3 times?" Now he said, "Because you do not answer the first time." He said, "But I answered all the time." I said, "Well, I forgot." He said, it's the menopause again. You know, the other day, you know, once he was talking and I wasn't paying attention, I was just doing something else. He said, "You're ghosting me. It's menopause again. Is that menopause again?" So he knows a lot now about menopause. And this is a funny one. I think we can end around here.
Okay.
Because one night he says, "Mommy, do you have any pill for insomnia?" I said, "Insomnia for who?" He said, for him. I said, "Insomnia, how?" He said, I think I have it. Do you have any pill?" I said, "Are you menopausal?" Why is he asking for a pill for insomnia? Because he's heard me say insomnia, I can't sleep, I can't that. It's all menopause, it's estrogen, and he knows everything about it. I think we should start talking about it. There's no point keeping quiet because you need the support of everybody. You need a support system. You need a hug from someone. You need someone who is there when you just feel blue, you want to cry. You need the support system. You need it at work, so you need to talk to your colleagues and friends. You need everybody to be there for you. And of course, we need the healthcare people to look at it, because menopausal women who have to take drugs, they need to buy these drugs and they're not cheap.
Yeah, exactly.
So maybe it's time to start pushing this conversation, creating an awareness. Let them put this in the insurance for us so women can get the needed help and support. And I would say to someone out there, join a support group.
Yes.
Join a support group. It helps a lot. Yeah. You may not talk in the group, but the information that you get is very good. I have on WhatsApp, I have a support group. I have another one on Facebook that I created, and then we have the page as well. The support groups are a bit more private, you know, and then closed knit and all that. So it's very important.
It really is.
Do you have any word, or what would you say, Karen, to your younger self?
Oh, my younger
What would you say?
Oh my God, so much. I would take her in my arms and just give her a big hug and tell her that everything's going to be okay and that nothing happens without reason. Yeah, that's what I would say. I would also say something about healthy eating. I have a healthy eating base, but I also like chocolate, and I like the odd gin and tonic. I'm just aware at how these treats can, whilst they might fill my soul, if I keep having them all the time, then that doesn't work. But having a healthy eating base, you don't have to stop eating all the stuff. You just eat less of it. That's all.
Very good, very good. For me, what would I say to my younger self? I would say to everyone, watch out for a post. I have a post coming up, my 10-year-old picture and the letter to my younger self.
That's nice.
About menopause and how to prepare for it.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Karen. I think we still have more than 1 minute. Who said we have 1 minute? It looks like we have more than 1 minute.
It depends on the delay, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We don't want to get cut off, that's all.
Yes, I know. But it's been quite interesting. It's been fun, really wonderful speaking to you.
Lovely to.
I like the energy. I love the smile. I love the silver. I love the locks.
Thank you. I'm very proud of these. I love them. My hair is at its most healthy now. It's not being dyed.
I'm tempted to dye mine though.
Are you? No, I'm not. Once I'd made the decision, I was cool. I'm cool. I like it.
Well, no, you just want to color it a little bit.
Well, color it then, man. Do what you want to do, man. Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much.
much. My love to your grandson
Thank you.
and your daughters. And keep pushing the
Yeah,
conversation and change the narrative.
yeah,
Let's create an awareness everywhere. Let's help our friends, our sisters, everybody. Let's talk about it. There's nothing to be ashamed about. Menopause is natural. It's inevitable for every one of us. So till next time, I want you all to watch out for our next episode.